Appreciate you staying with us on the program. Excuse me. We just want to get a conversation on the road this morning. I'm joined by three gentlemen to help create a handle for the discussion as far as the development from yesterday is concerned. At the top of the program this morning, we had hinted as to how that we'll be looking at essentially many of the events that have happened within the All Progressives Congress, both at home in Edo State and on the national level. But some persons are saying it would appear things came to a head yesterday on the strength of that court verdict temporarily suspending the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress. Now, meet my guest, beginning from my far left, Pastor Osagede, I should say. Yeah, Pastor Joseph Osagede is the State Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. We appreciate you for coming.
Thank you so very much.
Excellent. Next to him is another party man. But this one is Barrister Felix Iserias, member of the All Progressives Congress. We appreciate you coming as well. And then we have brilliant public affairs commentator with us as well, Bishop Austin Igbasa. We also appreciate you for coming. I'd love to begin with you, Bishop. Let me leave the gentlemen out for a minute. They are both members of the party, so they are insiders. But let's talk to you as a regular Nigerian who is, as it were, not partisan. Yeah. About many of these developments. I mean, we've been here time and again to look at many of the issues as far as the APC is concerned, the internal issues within the APC. You have been one of the persons who had over time expressed concern about how this may not turn out well for not just the APC, but the political landscape altogether. What have been your sentiments since you heard about this judgment?
Well, it's not a thing to be happy about. I used to tell people, I said, when a bushmeat escape trap, he should not do Thanksgiving. The two reasons why the bushmeat must not do Thanksgiving is that that is not the only trap in the bush.
Okay.
So if you escape a trap now, you as a bushmeat, you will not say you are doing Thanksgiving because there are other traps in the same forest.
And the bushmeat, as it were, is still within the bush.
Yes, and the second thing is that the bushmeat is still within the bush. So the bushmeat are not relocated to GRA or start saying in Maitama or Ikoyi. Okay. So where there are no traps. So to me, it is needless. All this heat is needless. And it's a show of shame to me. Personally, I see it as a show of shame. When we think that when you have a one-party system, you should have some level of peace and development. Now,
is it really a one-party system? The APC is the leading party or the ruling party, as we say, but does that make Nigeria a one-party system?
No. What I mean is, I'm talking about the state.
The state, okay.
Yes, I'm talking about the state. Okay. When you have a party, the mindset of everyone is that when you have one party ruling in a state and they don't have opposition either in the House of Assembly
or the executive level,
then you have some level of steady progress. That is the mindset of a common Nigeria. Nigeria, that when you have a state that has everything in one party, that you'll be able to run along with a vision and you have some level of speed and you achieve more. That is the mindset, that it will be difficult to convince an opposition to buy into your idea. Maybe in the course of, if you have a House of Assembly that have this way, you'll be difficult. You have to lobby here and lobby here. But everybody felt that when you have a one-party state, a one-party, in one state ruling, you should be able to have some it will fast track the level of development, and it will also make people to know that there is unity of purpose, because everybody on board has the same ideology, they have the same manifesto, they are working in the same direction. So it will make the journey, just like the scripture says, can two people work together except they agree? When there is an agreement is what brings people to under one umbrella, right, and they stay in the same place. So I feel that, to me, that you cannot go anywhere now. I came in from Lagos a few days ago. Everywhere you get to, people are talking of Edo State. So, and they are not talking about the state in good light. So I feel that it is a needless heat. We don't need this kind of heat, and we are not proud of it. It's not something anybody should rejoice about, because number one, it shows our level. It shows the level of do I call it immaturity of people that are playing. That when people are watching and they expected you to do something, the position of leadership is a position of a role model. That people should look up to what you are doing. They should look at what you are doing and the way you do it, and you should go by the rules of the game. So when it is outside this, It's like a Nollywood, all what we are seeing here is like a Nollywood.
The only thing being that we cannot produce this to sell.
Yes,
a drama.
which is possible to produce it, because we need to produce this kind of thing so that people can sell it, so that younger guys who are political scientists now, either in Uniben or anywhere, should be able to look at it and look at it that this kind of thing we are seeing is not something we must copy. It's not something we must emulate.
Austin, I'm going to talk to you a bit more about this as we make progress into this conversation. But let me turn to Joseph now quickly. You are a face in the party, basically. A lot of persons have said all of these, as it were, hula baloo within the APC. It's all about the 2020 gubernatorial election in Edo State. Is that all there is to it?
No, I think there is a little more to it than just 2020.
Okay.
First, let's look at the issues that led to where we are now. People have refused to embrace modern tendencies, modern trends in politics. People still think that politics should be as it used to be. We started this democracy in 1999.
Right.
And if you look back, a child who was just 10 years old in 1999 is almost 30 years old today. So since 1999, we are talking about more than 20 years now. Must we play the type of politics that we had in 1999 in the year 2020? So people are refusing to embrace modern trends in politics. I'll explain this to you. Most people still think that politics is grab, 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 me. They don't have the feeling, they don't have the interest of the people at heart. And so they build empires around themselves. They build circles around themselves where they can amass more wealth that is made for the people. And that is what Governor Obaseki is trying to break, to say, look, no, from henceforth, it is not me, let it be the people. And if you watch carefully, there's a difference between a leader and a godfather. Yes, in a political system, you must have a leader. You must have somebody that has the idea, that has the vision, that's able to carry the people along, who leads the group. The way you now turn that leadership into godfatherism, and you begin to play the role of God in the lives of the people around you, then you have missed the point. How do they get there? If you look at Edo North today, the people, the APC there, they are intact. If you look at Edo Central, APC there, they are intact. But come to Edo South, you find that the Beninese, with due apologies to every Benin man, the Beninese are the ones who have misled Oshomole, who have played into the inner person of Oshomole to create all these problems. Look at the major people who are with him. How many of them are from Edo North? How many of them are from Edo South, Edo Central? 90% of the people who are creating this problem are from within us, the Beninese. And they are creating this problem just for their own personal aggrandizement, just for their own personal pockets, for their own personal gains. And if you take a close look at all of them, they are people who have held positions, people who have been in position that ordinarily they should be satisfied and they should be thinking of how to give back to the society. But that's not the spirit, that's not the game. They are still thinking, how can they amass wealth to themselves? How can they take from the people and put it into their own pockets? But on the side of the national chairman himself, one would have expected that, having ruled Edo State for 8 years, when an Edo man was chairman when you were governor, did the Edo man who was chairman give you as much problems as you are giving your the incumbent governor today? The answer is completely no. Would Oyegun have tried some of the things he's doing today? The answer is no. You can imagine, would Oyegun come and hold a rally in Edo State without Oshomole being involved? The answer is no. So when you carry leadership to the level of godfatherism, you are bound to run into such problems as he has run into now. And a leader seeks for solution to issues. A leader tends to find out what is wrong, not who is wrong.
We're going to talk about solutions, of course, by all means, in the course of this discussion, gentlemen. But as I turn to Felix now, most people would argue rather that whatever it is that is happening within your party at this time is a quintessential example of dysfunction within political parties. Isn't that true?
Okay, before I go into the issues, I heard you introducing doing an introduction. I'm a member of APC.
Okay.
I found concerned the only person I know as the state publicity secretary of APC is the Chris Azeba. But I'm not aware of any other person.
Okay, maybe that's a conversation we're going to have again. Which of course, again, is an issue of controversy.
No. If there is controversy, you would have authoritatively say the state. Oh, okay, it would have been a part of the baby as okay, the factional. But I'm concerned the person that is duly known as the state secretary of my party is Mr. Chris Azeba.
We don't have any faction in
this
APC.
I would say that, especially if you are telling me that, oh, the state spokesman for OSM, I will understand.
Okay, so you're still driving the OSM EPM front, is that the point?
No, we have APC. The only APC state police secretary said is Chris Azeba. So that's why I needed to correct immediately. But the issue is very clear. But unfortunately, my very respected pastor here did not go into the issue. He diverted to another issue.
What are the issues?
You raised the issue about what happened yesterday, but he came in talking about the issue of godfatherism, issue of leadership, which is actually diversionary. But I think I need to really respond to it a little bit before I look at the main issues. So, you know, he talked about that, oh, Edo Central, Edo North, they don't have issue. The only people who are part of the governor are. He failed to realize that when the governor came on board,
that's Governor Obaseki.
Yes, when he came on board, the first two people who worked for him, Hanley, who were sent to Oko prison, were Benin people. Mark Kokola, Bepayi, and no more less, were sent to prison. They were Benin people. Number one. Number two, Edo State Assembly, the person that was qualified to become the clerk in hierarchy was a Benin man. But the government ensured that such a Benin man did not become a clerk. Meanwhile, they have to promote a person from another local government to become. That's the Benin man. Number two, those of them in the House of Assembly who are not inaugurated, the majority of them are people from Edo South, where the governor comes from. His own constituency, he excluded him from inauguration. So such a person that has shown high level of disregard, injustice to the Benin. Are you saying that they should not clap for him because he's from the Benin? It's unfortunate. Number two issue he also raised. He also raised an issue that borders on godfatherism. That is where they miss it. They are trying to paint Oshomole as a bad person just to nail him. That is not the issue. The crisis in Edo State today is not between Oshomole and Obaseki. It is between Obaseki and his party men who are saying that you have abused us enough, you have insulted us enough. When you came in, you said we are greedy men. When we are trying to make you as a governor, you went to bring people from Lagos, from Warri, from Delta to come and work. You have not regarded us as party men. It is now our duty to say, yes, this is who we are going to vote for, and you must not force us to support you. That is the issue. Oshomole has never said that I don't want Obaseki as a governor. He has never said that, for God's sake. He also raised another issue that borders on the fact that, oh, because they are sharing money. That is not the issue, for God's sake. People who are involved with these people in this matter are not hungry people. So when you begin to say because they want to share money, in the history of Edo State, I've never seen any governor that has so much spent money wastefully just to ensure that he deals with people as we are seeing today, and they are saying that there's no sharing of money. But to look at issues, I want to tell Edo people, especially the member of APC, not to be worried. There's no cause for alarm. You know, people are saying Oshomole has been temporarily suspended. There's no cause for alarm. As far as concerned, Edo has national chairman, and Edo is still having national chairman. They cannot take it away from us. When the president appointed and ended this chairman, they fought it. They went to court. The Edo does not deserve it. The president changed his mind. So they are also fighting that Edo will not have a national chairman. But today, as we speak, Edo State still has national chairman, which is the person of Comrade Adam Oshomole. Yes, I accept the fact that there is a court interlocutory injunction restraining him to say, oh, you cannot act. As far as such injunction has not been brought before him, as far as we speak today, there is an appeal. He has filed an appeal.
You understand? Yes, he has filed an appeal.
Automatically, he still remains the national chairman until otherwise is decided. I wouldn't want to talk about the merit of the injunction, but the person who is not a lawyer will understand what is happening. You know, they came first. they came, inducing members of NEC to remove him. He failed. They came by protest, hiring people to lead protest. They failed. And I said, okay, what we are going to do was to use the judiciary in any way we can do it to get whatever we want temporarily, just because they believe that Oshomole being the national chairman of APC in Edo State, because of what the governor has done, because the way he has dealt with his party men, he cannot get the ticket. So they are looking for a very cheap way to get the ticket. But unfortunately, as far as we are concerned, Oshomole will still be the national chairman when the APC will be conducted, when the primary election will be conducted in Edo State. Because, do you know why? The only way to remove a national chairman of the party is very clear. You cannot say out of 27 ward executives, only 6 persons that were suspended said, oh, we are suspending you from the ward. Automatically, you are no longer the national chairman. No. For national chairman to be suspended, to be taken any disciplinary action to be taken against him, it must get to the National Executive Committee, which is the highest organ that takes decision of discipline in party. So as far as we are not gotten there, the NEC has not decided. If it was the NEC who suspended him, I would have been worried. But as far as it's just a mere interim decision of a court that can be quashed and appeal at any time, I do not have an issue. But all we must know is the fact that those who are behind all these acts are doing it because they want to undermine the collective will of APC members. But unfortunately, at the end, they will fail. Okay, great. So we're going to talk more about those salient issues that constitute the real elements of this discussion we're having. Now, back to Austin. When you look at all of these issues, a lot of persons will tell you, look, APC is already divided against itself. All right? Long before now, there had been this back and forth between the national vice chairman of the party in the Northeast and, of course, the national chairman, who we understand stands suspended on account of yesterday's court verdict. But then again, you're wondering, the court also has said, Justice Senchi categorically said the APC had been the whole time acknowledging Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole in error as the national chairman of the party. That again is, has some historical element to it.
Yeah, I think any matter before a court, and when you look at the statement of the judge yesterday, yes, you see it is broken into about 3 segments. And I think, to me, as these are politicians that are talking here, but
and you are a pastor.
I'm a Jesus teacher.
I'm a politician. I'm a lawyer. I'm a legal practitioner.
So to me, definitely, that's why I gave the parable at the beginning.
Yes.
That when a bushmeat escapes a trap, there is no need for thanksgiving. Because we are here, a lawyer is talking now. He's talking as if he's the one that is going to give the appeal, the court of appeal. If court of appeal give judgment today, yes, do you have power as a lawyer to reverse what they have said? You don't. Even when you say something is right and the judiciary decide to go to one direction, there is something you can do about it. Yeah. So definitely when a matter is before the court, I know a court of appeal, it has been, the status quo has been asked to be stepped down, and an appeal has been launched yesterday against that judgment. Right. It's not before the judiciary that when the time is fixed to hear the matter, they will look at the merit. But like that statement that the judge itemized, like I said, is broken into 3. It is a statement that even the court of appeal are going to redigest. Okay. Because this matter is still on a trial. So it has not gotten to the peak where you said a final verdict is given over it. But to me, I feel that this fight is needless. Okay. I feel it's needless. And the issue is that if really the fight is because of the people, it would have gotten to where it has gotten to now. All of us were here when Comrade was governor. All of us were here on some actions that were taken. I'm sitting in this place now. I was part of the 8 people that even before the governor Lucky Gbinedo tenure was over, when we were deciding, how do we take this state to another level? The issue was brought, let us, this one will come on board and he's going to do something. I feel that he has done his own bit. Whatever happens is an opportunity for Edo people to have a national chairman of a party that is at the center, and also we're having an election coming. I think that the position of the national chairman must attract the national interest to Edo State. Edo State should to be able to enjoy the benefit of having the chairman of a national party. I will say to you that what is happening right now, we have not had this kind of thing in Edo State. I want anybody among them here to challenge me if we have had this kind of heat. Okay. When there is one party, even the party they remove from power, and they said they are better than that party. We don't have this kind of heat when that party was in power. So what is the pride that the APC is having now to say we are in one house and we are divided against ourselves and we are fighting ourselves? What is the joy? What are they going to point to as an achievement of this fight? If you said Mr. A is not good, party A is not good, vote for us, and people decide to vote for you as an alternative to party A, and when the party A was here, we didn't have this kind of headache, we didn't have this kind of crisis, we didn't have this kind of wahala up and down. I think that even when Comrade Oshomole was governor of this state, the commissioner of police that were here at that time, all of them were professional. Obadola was professional. The other Yoruba guy became DIG were all professional. No one of them supported the center party. They stood their ground as a professional policeman to make sure that the House of Assembly, they did what was right and the man was not terrorized. That is even when we have another party at the center. Right. I want to, what I'm saying are things that we can go back to check. Now, this man, Folusho, there's one Folusho that was commissioner of police here. Yeah. Folusho, he was so professional. Everybody was looking at these guys. An average policeman must satisfy the power of Asoro. But they stood their ground to support former Governor Oshomole. And they were standing to do what was right. They didn't allow the federal might to be used to perforate his effort here. So what I feel is that I feel that nobody in APC today should be excited with what is happening. Because if it is all about the people, if it is all about governing the people, giving development to the people, I think it shouldn't get to this level. It should be the people deciding. Is it not people that voted people who became members of House of Assembly?
That's right.
Do those people not have power to say, Mr. F, go and be inaugurated? We voted you so that you can represent our interests. Now you are not in the House of Assembly. Our interests cannot be represented. If really it is about people, the people that were voted either for Wode or anywhere would have been able to have the power. If they have the power to remove their member of House of Assembly, they should have the power to mandate and hold the man and say, we voted for you to represent us. Sir, we are going to the House of Assembly. You must be inaugurated and represent our interests. Right. But how many people in those constituencies today have power to tell the men who were voted, who they voted for, to represent them, to return to that place? So I think that we shouldn't sit down here and be praising the effort of what is going on. If you said the party is bad and people voted for you, and during the party that you said party devil, we didn't have this kind of heat, and party clean, party white now came on board, and we are having this kind of crisis. Do you know what it takes? This fight goes with money. On both sides, they are spending money. Both the national chairman and the governor, the both parties are spending money, and this money is supposed to be money that will bring development to us. As a national chairman, we're supposed to have something from the federal government today. Either let's say training school for custom, training school for marine police, this one by the power of being a party chairman, because it will not happen again. After this season, it won't happen again. Edo will not have such opportunity to have a national chairman that will come from Edo State again.
But I'm not sure we can make that decision.
No, what I'm saying,
the chance is slim.
No, what I'm saying is, yes. I'm not talking of removing the national chairman. Okay. I'm talking of in the future. Okay. Our other party, we have Yoruba State who will need their slot. We have other states who we want to have
the north and the east.
Yes, so it is not something stereotype for Edo State. Edo State have Chief John Oyegu. Now we have other Comrade Adas Oshomole. If you are going to bring another Edo man after his tenure, then which means APC is an Edo party then. Because it has to go around to other people. That's what I'm saying. Yes. That this time after Comrade Oshomole's tenure, you will not bring another Edo man. It's not possible.
So you're saying let's maximize this opportunity.
Maximize our time now. Okay. And I feel that both parties in this crisis, they are not showing maturity. My learned brother here said it is not about Obaseki versus Oshomole. That's not true. The people that are clamoring, if they don't have a stronger voice, they won't be able to stand and begin to talk to the sitting governor. All of us knew when Comrade was here. You dare narratives, you dare not now. You dare not. All of us are here. We are students of history. It is not an issue that you said go and read newspaper about. So if I don't take this when I'm there, and I'm there now, I want somebody to take it. The Bible said, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. This is the law and the prophet. So it is not it's an issue that we have seen here. We have seen a time where budget was passed here with minority people in the House of Assembly. Heaven did not fall here. We have seen a situation where members of House of Assembly were taken out of their base to be in a parlor in government house, and they were doing the law. Nobody, the roof of House of Assembly was removed, that the renovation is going on. Heaven did not fall. So what I'm saying, that not that I'm promoting injustice, but all I'm saying is that let us look at it that the fight is between the two people. So we should not talk about party. Okay. It's between these two main persons. If they come together on the table, all the people you are talking about that are humiliated, everybody
will fall in line.
Will fall in line.
Okay.
It's a matter of two persons.
Let's create more alignment. I'm going to come to you in a bit, Joseph. But just to let our viewers know that you can lend your voice to this conversation real time on the program. We're going to leave you a number on the screen in a bit, so you can use that to get through to us, both on WhatsApp and of course via SMS. No calls. Remember too that when you send in your contributions, you have to be decent in your language. It's not an opportunity to cast aspersion or sling mud. Don't attack the individuals. Just go straight to the issues. We want to deal with the issues, not to attack anybody. And remember too that everybody is entitled to their opinion. Don't fight someone's opinion. Just air your opinion. That's how it works on the program. So that number will be on the screen in a bit. Joseph, I was going to talk to you about godfatherism. I think that's one of the key issues that we're dealing with here. Because lately I've heard a lot of people say one of the reasons they are resisting, as it were, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole is because he's trying to impose himself as the godfather. All right, but a lot of persons will say that's rather hypocritical, because they say you cannot take away the element of godfatherism from politics anywhere in the world. For example, in the US, you would hear things like the establishment. Others are saying these are issues of semantics, that when you talk about establishment in the US or in any advanced democracy, it's as good as you're saying godfatherism. But they also believe that, I mean, for those who argue about this, they also believe that the only problem we're having is the approach to it. How do we strike a balance between whether or not you're going to have godfatherism and the real business of governance?
You see, when I started, I tried to draw a line between a leader and a godfather.
Right.
And I said a leader seeks for solution. A leader looks at what is wrong, not who is wrong. But a godfather fights every other person and wants to accumulate and accommodate everybody and show that he's in charge. Now let me give you a genesis of how the problem within APC started. When we had congresses and primaries to nominate people for House of Assembly, the people voted their choices from all the nooks and crannies in Edo State. Only for the national chairman to say, no, these are not the people he wants in the House of Assembly. And he unilaterally cancelled the result of that election, only to bring out names and ask that the people should go and rectify those names. That's why the day the president was being sworn in, Edo State was not there on the swearing-in ceremony of the president. Edo State was not there because we were now forced to do fresh primaries to accommodate those people that he wanted in the House of Assembly. We drew his attention to this, to say, sir, our constitution does not provide for what you are doing now. And he said, no, nobody should...
That's the party's constitution.
Yeah, that's the party constitution. He said, no, nobody should argue with him. That's how he wants it. Now, we buried that problem within us because we didn't want any crisis to start. And we accommodated all those that he wanted. Those who won nomination genuinely were dropped. And we now had to accommodate those people. We did the election. We had 24 over 24. And in due time, the governor made a proclamation for the House. He made a declaration for the House to be constituted. And the proclamation was made by the clerk. Now, some of these persons, because they had gone to Abuja, gone to Iyamo to hold a meeting to say they wanted one person, I don't want to mention names here now, they wanted one particular speaker
as their preferred
candidate. Whereas the party had met and zoned the speakership to Esan Northeast. But they wanted it from another local government. And because of that, they refused to go to the House of Assembly for swearing in. In fact, they delayed that thing till late in the evening. They were making calls to them. Meanwhile, they were busy holding another meeting in a hotel in Benin. By the time they constituted that house, they were not there. A leader, a good leader, would have called the boys to order and tell them, look, come on, follow me, let's go to Benin. And he will call the governor. These are your boys. They are our party people. We don't have any other party member in this house. Constitute them. Speaker, swear them in immediately. That's how to know a leader. Rather than do that, he accommodated them in Abuja, started to hold a meeting with them, and took the matter to the National Assembly and asked the National Assembly to stop the House of Assembly. He wanted a situation where a state of emergency would be declared in Edo State. He went beyond that to ask that the House should stop the House of Assembly from functioning. Why didn't he go to the court? It must a matter that concerns the House of Assembly be taken to the National Assembly. He should have gone to the court. So that's why the House of Assembly leadership went to the court to stop him from interfering in the affairs of the House. Having failed there, he now started to look for people to join him, and those 10 people that he has with him. That's the beginning of EPM, the one we refer to as Empty People's Movement, because they have nothing to offer Edo people.
Yes, now, they are members of your party.
No, they are no more members of our party, because within the party, you cannot begin to form another party. It's against our constitution. Excuse me. You cannot form another party outside the party structure. And you can imagine he will come from Abuja and start holding rallies with the EPM people, cutting off the governor, cutting off the party structure, cutting off the party, as it were. So as far as he's concerned, it is the EPM that is not the party. And that's why his ward where he's a member, met and suspended him. They took the matter to the local government, it was rectified. They took the matter from there to the state, it was rectified. And we took it to the zonal office of the party, which is in Port Harcourt, and it was also rectified, and then we sent it to Abuja. He sat on it because it affected him. Our constitution stipulates that you are a member first and foremost from your ward. You are not just a member at the top. We don't have Oga at the top.
But what do you say to those who say that suspension, or some persons who say purported suspension, did not follow due process?
That is what the court is looking at now. That's why the court ruled yesterday that for as long as that suspension stands, you cannot parade yourself as the national chairman of this party anymore. Because he thought, he's bigger than the law. He thought nobody will ever ask him to vacate the office until the court now ruled yesterday. See, our constitution is very, very clear. You cannot suspend a man at the top. You cannot suspend the president now to say, Mr. President, you are suspended from the party, if he has not been suspended from his ward. I cannot be suspended from the party if I have not been suspended from my ward. It is bottom up. It is not up down. That's the structure that we have. And so we have tried by all means to accommodate him. But you can imagine the situation. My friend here made reference to some of the things we experienced during his tenure, when he had 8 members of the House of Assembly and they passed a budget, leaving out the other people deliberately. We are talking about parties where you had your own party members and the other party had its own members. You ruled them out. When they were now trying to hold meeting in the House of Assembly, you went to remove the roof and said you wanted to do some innovation, and took the 8 members to the House.
But at that time, again, your party did not speak against that action. The APC did not speak against that action.
Nobody fought him. Nobody fought him. Now, what has Obaseki done? You see, the question we're asking him, what is the fault of Obaseki? My friend here said he has abandoned the party members. I'm a foundation member of the APC. I have not been abandoned. Who are those who are saying that they have been abandoned? They are the same people who have ruled before, who have been in positions before. They are the same people who have had the opportunity of making this state dry, and they still think that it must be business as usual. And we are feeling very sorry for Oshomole because he does not know when to start a fight. He does not know when to stop a fight. He thinks after talking. He reasons after doing something. If had he been a man who thinks before he talks and who will reason before he takes any action, he would have known that he doesn't need to fight Obaseki. In the first place, he's the one who stopped every other aspirant.
But is the governor not fighting back?
The governor has not been fighting
because
back.
It appears to be a two-way fight.
No. See, the governor has not been fighting back. The governor has been doing all within his power to keep the party intact. You can imagine a situation where Oshomole masterminded some members of the state working committee. I'm a member of the state working committee. Listen to this point, it's very important. He masterminded the state working committee members to suspend the party chairman. State working committee is junior in structure to state executive committee.
Okay.
And when you take such a decision, if you have such an issue to raise at the state level, you raise it from the state working committee and lift it up to the state executive committee. It is when the state executive committee will agree to suspend the chairman that you can now take the decision to the zonal. That's what our constitution provides for.
Okay, I need to.
So when they just took that decision, yes, they hardly took the matter to Abuja, and Oshomole said, yes, I approve it. You don't run a party as if it's your personal product.
I'm going to come back to you, but let's begin to look at solutions now. Even though we understand that part of the judgment from yesterday, Felix, is that the suspended national chairman of the party should be denied access into his office within the party's national secretariat. In fact, we understand as we speak right now on the program, the secretariat has essentially been taken over by men and officers of the Nigerian police and the DSS, right? That changes the narrative to a large extent for your party, because we also understand that in the middle of all of these melodramas, it were a good number of governors on the platform of the APC are rallying around themselves to quickly put together a NEC meeting where they will finally decide the fates of the suspended national chairman. What does this all mean for the party?
I think first, I hope you also give me enough time to talk the way you gave him.
Let's do something equitable. You go ahead and talk to us.
Enough time, but I think first, when I grow old, I want to be remembered by my children as that person who stood on the path of truth, justice, and equity. Okay. I want to be remembered as that person who at the time when it mattered most, I stood on a path of democracy, not that person who stood on a path of mischief. I want to be remembered. You know, it's very easy for people to come anywhere and make statements just to nail the national chairman of the APC. If I remember in 2016, what Oshomole passed through in Edo State just to make Obaseki governor, and I now realize what the governor is doing to him today, I weep. You know why? Those of us who are young, especially from the Benin, tomorrow when we are looking for something, we are fighting for something, somebody will remember what happened in the case of Oshomole, that, oh, that is why today, the prayer where everybody keeps praying that may Oshomole not do, may you not do the type of good Oshomole did for Obaseki. I haven't said that. He talked about the history of the crisis, the issue of the I don't think whether my very good pastor here was in Edo State when this thing started, because from the narrative he gave, it's a very skewed narrative. The crisis is skewed. Look at the word. Check the English word. It's not an insult. Skewed.
When you say skewed, you mean it was not straightforward.
Yes, it was not the way.
He missed out some elements. Is that the point?
It means that there are a lot of elements that make it not true. Okay. It's not a right narrative. Okay,
so you let us have this.
So that's why I want to give you that narrative. I'm still talking, please. When the constitution of the party is very clear, it is the National Working Committee that has the power to conduct primaries, not the governor of a state. So in the case of Edo State, because the governor wants to be a godfather to himself, he wants to be the one to produce us as a member, he wants to be the one to produce House of Rep and Senate. He went to constitute his own committee to conduct primaries and appointed his special advisor, assistants to be committees on primary. That is not what the constitution of the party said. Oshomole now realized that the primary that was conducted was not conducted by the committee he sent, but was conducted by the members of the executive of the governor. And the committee said, no. This is what happened in Zamfara. In the case of Zamfara, the governor sat down as the governor that I am in charge of the party. I decide who wins this and constituted a committee to conduct primary. And that was why today Zamfara has such problem in APC that I will not allow such to happen in Edo State, where the governor will be the one to conduct the primary, and he nullified the primary. We talked about the issue of godfatherism, for God's sake. The highest godfather we have in Edo State today is the governor, and I will prove it. Number one, what is godfatherism? When you want to project people into office and want them to win. The governor has his own candidates. He was fighting, he sponsored, he even sponsored them to the level of Supreme Court. That is godfatherism. When you are pushing your own to enter power, it's godfatherism. In distributing leadership and godfatherism, which he said, when Oshomole was the governor, he exhibited the highest level of leadership as a party in the state. There was never any time we had this issue within his party. It is normal that in party politics, an opposition can do anything to fight the other party. But it becomes an error when a leader that ought to bring the party together in the state is the one destroying his own party he came from. The governor cannot be talking about godfatherism when he was a product of godfatherism. Oshomole single-handedly made him as the governor of Edo State. He would have resigned as a governor because he would say, I don't believe in godfatherism, but I'm a product of godfatherism. Let me resign, then I can fight against godfatherism. Oshomole has not done anything to say, oh, I don't want to pass. He has never done that. It is the party members who are saying that, oh, the continuity agenda, we campaign. We campaign that we are going to continue the project of Oshomole. We campaign that we are going to continue the legacy of Oshomole. But that is not what we are having today. We are not having your own agenda meant to undermine the continuity agenda of the party. That is why they are fighting. But today they will tell you, oh, because of their selfish interest. I do not want to go into the House of Assembly matter because it's only subjudice. But if I stand here to justify the fact that, oh, majority were excluded from inauguration and minority were inaugurated and they had a speaker, it means that I don't know what I'm saying. But let me say this. Regarding the issue of yesterday, the constitution of the party is very clear. Some people make a narrative without understanding. There's a difference between sanctioning a person as a party member and sanctioning you as an elected officer of the party. If I want to be suspended as a member of APC from my ward, as a member of APC, that is the procedure. But if you want to suspend or remove a national officer of the party, it is not the ward that does that. The ward does not have the power. They can only suspend as a member. The constitution is very clear. When the National Working Committee moves a motion and is ratified, it is only the NEC that takes decision. Are you saying that right now, Opaseki is no longer the governor, is no longer a member of APC because he has been suspended by the National Working Committee of the party? Ratified by he has been suspended by the state executive of the party and ratified by the National Working Committee. It means that the governor on his own is no longer a member of APC in Edo State. So when we look at this issue, I look at people who justify the wrongs of the governor. Those whose pancane were cracked by benevolence must learn to be humble. Never in the history of Edo State have we ever seen people harassing party men, using talks to harass party men. I have never seen that in the history of Edo State. I have never seen in the history of Edo State where the governor will sit down to start fighting anybody that gets appointment at the federal level because he believes that is a threat to his office. But let me tell you, the 2020 governorship election is not going to be decided by the governor by himself. It's going to be decided by party members and Edo people. So you feel that, oh... And essentially that's what this fight is about. Yes, if you feel that, oh, if I give to Oshomole, I can easily get a ticket, that is not true. Even though Oshomole is not the national chairman of APC today, does not give the ticket of the party, automatic ticket to the governor. The party members are still going to be the one to decide who to get the ticket. So, moving forward in all this matter, like what I told the party people in Edo State, Oshomole will be the one that will conduct the APC primary. I keep saying that the reason is that when you look at it, it's a political matter. The judge only overreached himself. He dived into the issue. Somebody went to court to say, oh, this man has been suspended from his ward. He cannot fit. You have not looked at whether actually he was suspended. You have not looked at the substantive matter. You are already giving him a disciplinary action that you cannot remember. You cannot act as a national chairman.
Was it not on the basis of the suspension right from the ward level?
Has it determined the legality of the suspension? Is after you have decided this thing, I'm still talking. Is after you have decided the matter, if actually this thing happened. Whether he followed due process. Yes, whether yes, this man was actually suspended. You have not looked at the real suspension matter. You are already taking a disciplinary action against him. Even though you are not a lawyer, you understand that everybody has the right to fair hearing. You have not led evidence to prove that, oh, this man has really been suspended from his party. Then you cannot say, oh, I haven't been suspended.
But sorry, so, did the national chairman not have lawyers representing him in courts?
Look at the issues. Look at the issue. Let me give analysis of what has been happening. First, they went to the Federal High Court trying to get this type of injunction. Federal High Court said, no, we cannot grant you. It is not the ward that has the power to remove the national chairman. Federal High Court refused it. Please, I'm talking.
That's not true.
I am talking. Don't interrupt me, please.
That is not
I am
true.
talking.
Please,
No, you don't mislead.
I am Felix, take your time. Felix, take your time to
talking.
finish up.
Yes,
and
I'm
then, Joseph, you get your time as well.
Yeah, I'm
Go
talking.
ahead.
It refused it. So they now went to a state high court.
Okay.
What is the issue? The issue is very simple. Having been suspended by your word, you do not have the power to act as the national chairman. The matter has not been decided. He has not been able to show that, oh, this man was actually suspended by his word. They have not gone to the real matter to determine. What they did was to enter into interlocutory. What is the essence? They know that if you go into the real issue, they cannot succeed because they know the procedure of the remove national. They know. What they quickly did was to file an interlocutory application to say, oh, before this matter is decided, this guy should be suspended as the national chairman of APC, because what they want to achieve is, with the period of suspension, those state primary will be conducted. Then Oshomole will not be the one to preside over the primaries of it. So that is the logic. But unfortunately for them, they failed to do tests. Number one test is that the court has only made a declaration which can be within days be vacated by an appeal or by the same court. The same court, the same court can also stay execution. These are remedies. They also fail to realize that even though Oshomole is really removed according to them, the person that will take over as acting national chairman is Senator Ajimobi. Senator Ajimobi is still in the class of the national chairman that does not want injustice against party members. So no matter like what he said, whether the rabbit will escape trap today does not mean whether the governor pass through this process, but Edo people will decide who becomes the next governor, not by through this back door and getting frivolous.
Let me make it clear to you that you did not use that parable with express permission from Austin.
With due respect.
That was just a joke.
Let me quickly say this. I remember some years ago when I respect him very well, I was in a summit where he spoke. He spoke about gratitude. And I know what he talked about gratitude. But unfortunately, everything he told us that time is exactly what is happening today. People who are ungrateful to those who have lifted them. No matter what they do, if people lift you in life, you do not have the moral right, the spiritual right to be looking for their head and destroy them. It does not mean that you will not disagree. But wanting to destroy a man, wanting to ensure that you eliminate a man who sacrificed all his life to make you who you are is demonic.
Let me just put in a point here.
Yeah, about
this gratitude that he just mentioned. You see, people tend to forget how Oshomole himself came to power. I was in PDP. I was a director under Lucky Benedion.
As the governor then?
As the governor then. And I know the meetings we had. Okay. I know how Oshomole was brought in. I know the role played by Chief Gabriel Usawari Benedion. I know the role played by Lucky Benedion to ensure that he got victory and he became the governor. Look at what he did to Benedion. He stood one afternoon in government house and was saying that if Chief does not take his time, he will use executive rascality to deal with him. A man whose son was your predecessor. Look at what he did to Lucky. Look at you know. See, everything you do in life, there's always a reward. There's always.
Okay, gentlemen, I want us to Gentlemen, we're going to invest the next 30 minutes to talk about solution.
Okay.
Austin, you look at these political parties, whether APC, PDP, ABGA, whichever, they all have constitutions that should guide them. Incidentally, both of them have made allusions to their party's constitution. But it's amazing how you have a constitution and, ironically, people still don't behave like they are guided within the party. Why do we have such an unfortunate development?
I think that is Nigeria factor. That we look at the paper as just something, it's a document that we decide that this document is to guide us, but I will be guided by my own mind, by my own ego. Until we return, I think that judiciary will also help us in this direction. Okay. Because it is difficult for most politicians to be able to go by the rules of the game. It's not only limited to our state here. If you look at the federal unit, it's everywhere. It's a Nigerian factor. Wherein somebody will be in leadership and want to do it his own way, not even with the manifesto of his party. I think that when this kind of thing continue to happen and people don't question it, when people question it within the party system, the best solution is to go to court. The court will interpret the constitution of the party and be able to say, Mr. F, you did do it well. Mr. 14, you have done well here. And I think with all this internal crisis within the party, it's not helping us, because most time you see that logistic or money spent on election will make the choice of the people not to be established. No, I give you an example of Zamfara. People voted for somebody, but because of internal, people don't respect the manifesto of their party, the desire of the people or the conscience of the people that they put into their ballot will be meaningless. And if we are not careful, we'll begin to have election, but we'll begin to have winners from the court. And it is not good for democracy.
It's not supposed to get to that point.
No, because that is where we are going now. We have the election. Look at what happened in Bayelsa. Somebody that had 472 is now almost trying to commit suicide. And the person that had 140 something has become governor. And there's nothing you can do about it. And you see what happened within that place. Because many people, it has affected the morale of the people of the state. It has affected so many people. Imagine the judgment that came on board. Patriots are already cooking, ushers are already in their bouncers, everybody preparing for the something, and judgment came.
In the case of Bayelsa?
Yes, so it came. So for you to, even the two parties, I mean the governor-elect then and the deputy governor-elect, it will take them more than 4 years. Their marriage will be affected with it. Their children, family life will be affected, because the children will feel that you have disappointed them. By now, people will have been referring to me as an excellency's son, daughter, excellency's son with convoy and all that. Even for a man to have all his police and SSS with the place where he's doing a rehearsal, you know what it is? The BP of the man, even if he didn't have BP before, the BP will fly up, because it is not easy. In Nigeria, our ego is our problem. If it is about document and paper, we don't respect what we call our manifesto. Our parties are being run by individual, not by the conscience that was put on ground. And we are going to that direction. We have seen that the court are the one giving winners now. INEC will conduct election, court will give the winner. And by that, it will get to a stage that people will lose interest in casting their vote. Because they will feel that whatever we do now, when a man sits down and says, these are the people I want for the position, they will do it, and there will be two factions. And okay, look at it now. If APC goes to election with this kind of heat they are having, and they have, my learned brother here said, this is not the publicity secretary. The pastor said it's the publicity secretary. Now, by the time they conduct an election, and they are able to go to court like Zamfara, if they eventually win Edo State, the judiciary will be the one to give us who is the winner of the election.
And that's a development you say is unfortunate.
Yes, so it's unfortunate, because the INEC will have lost its value. All the money spent on ballot box and all the arrangement for election will be a waste. So to me, I feel that the best way to go about it is that everybody should drop our sword. We should drop our sword. We should drop our sword. It's a big man fight now. Nobody wants to say win me, not win me. Let us look at what General Gowon said after the Civil War, that there is no victor, there is no vanquish. Let us look at what Governor of Bayelsa said when they came out of the Supreme Court. That statement does the tension in Bayelsa when he said, this matter, there is no winner. Because if it were other people, as they came out of Supreme Court, you just say, oh Lord, I am very, very grateful. Shame, shame, shame on the devil. And if the man have done that, Bayelsa would have been on fire now. Because many people felt this is the person we voted for. But there's a mistake, a technical mistake from the same politician. The same politician moved lawyers to review Supreme Court judgment, and the attorney Supreme Court to trial court in our own lifetime. If we are not careful, these politicians, they will drive us to where we don't want to go as a destination. And they are not living a life that our children who are in the university, looking at people who are political mentors, seeing them doing what is illegal, what is wrong, and they're calling it right, and they want us to believe them, and they want us to clap for them. I think it is not a good thing for them. If a child is 20 years old and is still being breastfeeded, you need to carry the child to the church. If you are a Christian, go and drop the child as an offering. Drop it on the altar of the church. Okay. Before we give offering on the program, I mean, if you wait, so let me talk to these two gentlemen as we also talk a bit more about solutions right now. The primaries for Edo State gubernatorial election are just around the corner, a few months away, we understand. So, Joseph, I want you to talk to me about solutions, because Bishop Igbasan here talked about the fact that all parties need to sheath their swords. Are we looking at solutions, particularly from both ends, whether it's the EPM or the OSM, whichever factions you have within your party? Because it will appear the drive towards the election
is really paramount over every other consideration right now?
I must tell you the fact, we really don't have any serious problem in APC.
There's a problem, but not serious.
Yes, yes. Okay. The problem is that Oshomole is feeling larger than his real size, and he's working outside of the constitution of the party to do a lot of things. If you look at the crisis that APC has all over the country, it's one state versus Oshomole. It's Edo State versus Oshomole, Bayelsa versus Oshomole, Imo versus Oshomole, Zamfara versus Oshomole, Katsina versus Oshomole. Now let the man realize that power is transient. And the earlier he realizes that it will be better for him to leave a good legacy than to be the man who caused crisis and became the hero out of crisis in Nigeria. We are begging him, we are pleading with him that he should let Edo be. Let APC in Edo State decide who they want as their governor. You see, if you watch what is happening now, there is no aspirant that is challenging Obaseki from Edo North or Edo Central. He is the one who has masterminded all these Edo South people. And look at all of them who want to take over from Obaseki. There's no one that has the pedigree of Obaseki. There's no one that has the qualities of Obaseki. So why is he carrying them and creating so much tension and creating so much acrimony within the party? Why? What does he want? Now we have been asking him, what is your problem with Obaseki? If he tells us today that, oh, Obaseki is corrupt, he has inflated contracts here and there, we will hear him. If he tells us today that, look, Obaseki has done worse things than I did with Benin Water Storm, oh, we will listen to him. Or he tells us today that the roads Obaseki is constructing is more expensive than the airport road, which per kilometer is the most expensive road in Africa. We will hear him. So what is really the problem? It's just ego. He just doesn't want to see a man doing so well within such a short time. Let me bring in this point. During Oshomole's time, Nigeria had such a buoyant economy that the money that Obaseki has had in 3 years put together is far more than what is far less than what Oshomole made in 1 year. So you can imagine how the man has been able to manage the resources prudently. And seeing what he has achieved, they are worried that if this man continues like this, Edo State will be so developed. Look at the stadium for crying out loud. Look at the secretariat. Look at the roads. Look at agriculture. Look at our educational system. So they know that the man means well. So we are pleading with him. Let people who know him advise him that he should let Edo be. Okay.
Incidentally, I would love Felix to help us wrap this up, because whether you like it or not, whether Oshomole is going to be the one to preside over your primaries in Edo State or not, the party has to remain and is the ruling party. The extent to which the party is stabilized and focused will also go a long way in determining how progressive Edo States and by extension Nigeria will be. What do you think should be the specific solutions right now?
Comrade Adam Oshomole was the governor for 8 years. We as members of APC will always respect him and regard him. He performed as a governor of Edo State. He did not only perform, he was able to unite his party together. We never had this type of crisis during his regime, so we are proud of him and we are happy for him. But it's unfortunate that those who he brought in, hoping that they will be able to build on the legacy of humility within the party, the legacy of progressiveness, the legacies of continuity, are those who want to embarrass him, who want to ensure everything that they nail him. But we are not worried. Why we are not worried? Because we understand the fact that God is the one that decides the power of men. If you feel that, oh, because I'm the governor, I have power to use security to harass people, I have the money to use this, I can fight, I will not want the ambulance treatment, you understand that God is the one that will have the final say. But unfortunately, if anything happens in Edo today and Edo is lost to reputation, the governor will not be the loser. The loser will be those politicians who are clapping for him right now, who are with him, because you know why? The governor does not have a personal house in Benin. He relocates back to Lagos, where he comes from. The governor does not have any business in Benin. He will relocate back to Lagos where he has business. The governor does not have a family in Benin. He will relocate back to Lagos where he has family. The people that will be the loser are the politicians around him who are politicians in Edo.
How about your party? What's your party be?
No, the individuals are the ones who make up the party, and they will be the losers when the party loses. So they are the one who will lose. So let them continue to clap for him that, oh, you are free to destroy, you are the wake and sink. We don't have any problem. So, but let me say this, tell this to the governor, and I hope that he's listening to me.
We're talking solution, please.
Yeah, this solution, this one solution. Let me tell him, let him not be remembered as a governor who once served in Edo State. That during his regime, he destroyed his party, he humiliated his party, he embarrassed his party, and he ensured that anybody in his party who gets something reasonable in a food that does not get it.
By regime, you mean administration?
Yes, administration. Let it not be regime as that civilian governor who did more than a military governor. Let him not be remembered as that governor who refused to regard party supremacy. Let him not be regarded as the governor who served in Edo State, who masterminded thuggery, all sorts of undemocratic acts. Let him not be remembered as the governor during his regime. He presided over a government with a House of Assembly that is not well constituted. But the way forward is, Edo people will decide who becomes the next governor, and no one man will decide whether he will become governor by force and by coercion.
All right, thank you. 1 minute, Austin, so we're done.
My own solution is that Mr. President, who is the #1 person of APC, and also the father of the nation, should call the party chairman and call the governor to sit together, because this heat, it is the masses that is suffering it. It's hampering the development. Even the speed at which the governor is working is reduced now, because this is diversion and distraction to the benefit that people are supposed to benefit from this government. I feel that the only person at this level that can resolve this matter is Mr. President, to call these two people and say, this is our party, both the governor and chairman, let us work together and give a standing order and harmonize how the primary will be conducted. Wherein the governor himself will know that he will not be cheated. That the governor now does not have assurance of he doesn't trust the national chairman. Neither the national chairman trusts the governor. So it is only the president that can bring the two of them to sit together and minus everybody from Edo State. Let it just be three of them, and he will give a standing order and design how the primary will be carried out, and nominate some people who will carry out, that will make the governor to know that they will not bring his enemy who will edge him out from being able to contest fairly.
Yes.
Because under free and fair, if the governor is assured that there's going to be a level playing field for all contestants, I'm sure the governor will not have anything to worry about. If he knows that this man is not going to pay me back and say this is the title. We are all here when Ambode won't happen. The people sent from Abuja, they are in the hotel, they revolt, they said they will not declare the result, but they phone call from Abuja, they were called the second day to follow up, and they didn't attend the primary. Today, Sanwo-Olu is in Lagos. Go and check Lagos and see that if Ambode was there, the progress that Ambode was, the speed at which the guy did in 3 years, he even beat what Fashola did in 8 years. Lagosians today are seeing the difference between Ambode and the new governor they have. What I said is that the president is the only person, apart from God Almighty, that can bring these two people together, and he should not allow any other person to join them. It is only the three of them, and he should give a final verdict. If not, there is no, the trust is gone.
Okay, I think that's one issue that needs to be addressed. This so-called mutual mistrust that some people will say they believe exists between the governor and his predecessor. So I'd love to thank especially my guests on the program this morning, Austin Igbasa, Felix Isere, and Joseph Osagede. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Okay, that's what we're leaving it on the discussion. We're back shortly to tie it up on TMI. Do stay with us.